Hey everyone, Thordan Smash here, and you're probably wondering, how did I get in this situation? Well, I wanted a dive trail, but I didn't want to spend $160 on the Watson Prestige skin, so, well, this is what I was doing. All that being said, today we're going to be talking about buffs and nerfs, as they did do a recent patch, and we're going to go over all of that, and we're also going to go ahead and give out one of those Watson Prestige skins. All you gotta do is like, comment, subscribe, you guys know the drill, but without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So, it's June, the summer heat is kicking in, ranked ladders are still actually infested with cheaters, but at least they crash a little bit less. And Respawn dropped an update on June 3rd that quietly rewires the legend balance in Apex Legends without dropping, anything other than that, really. There's no new LTM, no event, no recolors that cost the GDP of a small nation. Just kidding, it's EA, of course there is. But it's just good old-fashioned tuning for the most part, and let me tell you, what looks like a simple, little patch is actually a subtle shift in Respawn's balancing strategy, and it gets me pretty excited for buffs and nerfs in the future. So we're gonna actually go ahead and start with Sparrow, the Recon legend for Season 25. They launched on May 6th, and within a few weeks, their pick rate has been one of the second highest in the game. Their kit is actually pretty fun. Double jump, literal vertical reset button, tracker dart, stinger bolt. It's a hard counter to static legends, the controller class, which does need to see some major improvements in the near future. And Sparrow's popularity has actually had two major implications that you might not have been aware of. Right now, Respawn is deep into the mobility meta and it's only accelerating. Ash is also a clear sign to that. And future legend designs are either gonna have to match that level of dynamism or offer disruptive counterplay mechanics. He's not broken, but he is reshaping the game along with a few other legends. But we're actually gonna talk about some of the ones that were changed directly on that patch. We're gonna move on to Alter. And there are two changes here, but they both matter a ton. The enemy follow-on delay on our ultimate was reduced from 8 seconds to 6 seconds, and the Nexus reactivation time increased from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. And you might be saying, well, why does this matter? Because reducing the follow delay actually shortens the window that Alter's team has to regroup after Portal plays, which was a huge headache for a lot of players, especially with a lot of players, instigating a fight and then running away, and it just didn't make a lot of sense. Meanwhile, doubling the reactivation delay slows down tempo play. This is Respawn's way of basically saying you just can't portal dance every fight like it's a club in Olympus, which, by the way, can we get a club in Olympus? Maybe like Loba's restaurant we can actually go into where her parents died? I don't know, I think that'd be kind of cool. But basically, it's targeted efficiency reduction. It allows to kind of tone down high skill abuse without ruining the casual's fun, which was actually a pretty good balanced update. However, Ballistic, who's been one of the top 3 legends pretty much picked and ranked this season, also saw, a little bit of nerf. Where it hurt him the most is his overheat damage was halved from 30 to 15, and he no longer gets ultimate extension from Nox. So the overheat mechanic was Ballistic's risk-reward identity. By slashing the damage, Respawn's effectively neutered the threat value of his tactical, which is interesting to say the least. I will be interested to see if he's still picked highly and ranked. And the ultimate extension removal takes away one of the few snowball mechanics he had left in team fights. There's no more chain killing momentum, no more popping ult, steamrolling, and yelling, "Get off my lawn." Because let's be honest, I kind of think of Ballistic as Clint Eastwood. Maybe that's just me, but I always saw that comparison. Anyways, it's a serious viability hit, and they're actually repositioning Ballistic as a team play oriented support duelist rather than a solo carry. So again, interested to see if he's continued to pick high. And Conduit, also one of the support class, just got handed a pretty big buff. Her tactical cooldown dropped from 31 seconds to 21 seconds, and then they combined that with her buff regen from April, and she's actually pretty good now. It's a big deal. Faster tac cooldown means more uptime on shield support, more survivability in pokes, and more options for disengage and reset comps. And what's important here is that Conduit fills a niche that Apex has long neglected since like 2 or 3 seasons, so actually not that long, but support class being viable still. She's actually starting to feel like the future of a hybrid support, offering value in both aggressive and defensive team comps. However, we gotta go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, and well, that is Ashe. She's still untouched and still dominating. Her pick rate is the highest in the game. She's got mobility, burst, easy third-party access, assault class utility, and a personality that says, I main Wraith, but wanted more trauma. And the question is, well, why hasn't she been nerfed? And there's a few theories, and these are what I think. She's carrying player retention right now. Her kit appeals to high skill players and casuals who want an edgier Wraith, and nerfing her could actually risk engagement drops. Respawn themselves have said they're trying to lean more into mobility and fun styles of play. Also, she's Respawn's right now baseline skirmisher. The yardstick, like I just said, for future movement-based legends are measured against her, and that's kind of the direction they want to go. And there's the third option, and this one goes to Hideouts, who apparently banned a player the other day for getting killed by him. The dev teams all main her and don't want to suffer. That's my personal theory. Ashe is the clearest example of functional over dominance, a legend that pretty much feels fun to play but often sucks the oxygen out of less mobile kits. But let's go ahead and zoom out. This update actually tells us about where Respawn is taking the game away from traditional buffs and nerfs. They started releasing lighter weight patches with meaningful tweaks, and they have adopted faster turnaround times on balance issues, and then once again, they've shifted the design to favor hybrid roles and increased flexibility. This kind of aligns with a quiet but noticeable pivot towards what players are calling Apex 2.0, with the possible sequel coming in the future. They want more agile balancing instead of massive swings, a meta diversity through buffs, not just nerfing the legends, and eventually legend reworks, maybe even more class perks and mobility counters. There's going to be another mid-season update that's probably much bigger, that's going to dive more into the legends and changes that we could be seeing in the near future. All that being said, that's the big buffs and nerfs and what we can hopefully see the direction that they're taking the game. We're now going to go ahead and jump into community clips. Don't forget to submit your own to me at Thordan Smash on Twitter, but without further ado, let's roll it.
Almost to the ring, 10 seconds to go. Release shield.
Take your time. The ring is close and there's a whole minute to play. Reloading. Enemy down. Good kill, Marco. Broken. We happy few.
Let me know down below, what are your guys' thoughts on some of the buffs and nerfs, and who would you like to see get fixed next in Apex Legends? Also, don't forget to check out the video on the top left corner where I cover more news on Apex Legends on the daily. And until next time, everyone, thanks for stopping by. Keep slaying in the Outlands.